And primary elections were held in Florida, New York, and Oklahoma yesterday, and we've got results from several races. Let's start in New York. Representative Jerry Nadler won the Democratic nomination for the 12th district. You may remember that he was pitted in a very bitter primary against longtime House Democrat Carolyn Maloney. Their district lines were redrawn earlier this year, thanks to redistricting. And in a special election for New York's 19th congressional district, Pat Ryan, the Democrat, defeated Republican Mark Molinaro in a race that was largely framed around abortion rights. And in Oklahoma, Mark Wayne Mullen won the Republican Senate runoff election there. He secured the endorsement of former President Donald Trump shortly after the state's primary. And Val Demings won the Democratic nomination for Senate in Florida, setting her up for a face-to-face with Republican Senator Marco Rubio in November. That'll be one key race to watch. And meanwhile, another race to watch is the Florida governor's race. Democrat Charlie Crist won the Democratic gubernatorial primary last night, and he will face incumbent Republican Governor Ron DeSantis in the midterms. So for more on all of this, who better to talk to than our CBS News chief elections and campaign correspondent, Robert Costa, who joins me now from Florida. Bob, Democrats have selected Charlie Crist to face incumbent Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. How is that race likely to play out? And what does it say to you that Democrats chose Crist over Nikki Fried?
In choosing Congressman Charlie Crist, Democrats have chosen not only a member of the House who's a Democrat, but also a Democrat who's a former Republican governor of Florida. And that dynamic will play into this general election campaign against Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, because you have in Crist someone who projects, at least in terms of his persona and his rhetoric, someone very much in line with the Biden White House, in line with Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign, someone who wants to reach out to traditional Democratic voters. You saw in his early remarks today in this general election campaign, Congressman Crist talking about wanting to campaign with President Biden in Florida. This is a Democrat who sees the Biden agenda as a plus. He's not going to hide from the president in any way, despite some of the challenges for Democrats on issues like inflation and the economy.
Yeah, that's a really good point, especially since we're not hearing that from a lot of Democrats running for re-election this cycle. I think there was so much interest in this race because the big question was who Democrats would pick to run against DeSantis and whether they could, try to blunt some of his momentum. Can you talk to us a little bit about, why this focus on DeSantis? It seems like he's building up towards a 2024 presidential run. He's got a ton of money in the bank. Is that really what this is about?
Democrats would love to carve back some of the political territory nationally and here in Florida. They look at Florida and they see that this has historically been a state that has elected Democrats statewide as governor, as senator. And they also see in Florida Governor Ron DeSantis someone who could run for the Republican presidential nomination in 2024. So if they could in any way stop DeSantis before he even gets to the consideration stage of 2024, that would be a political victory for Democrats. And they also see this general election campaign, even if Congressman Crist is defeated, as an opportunity to test out messages against DeSantis, who is building a national profile, traveling the country, raising money for other Republicans, appearing alongside at times election deniers like Pennsylvania gubernatorial nominee Doug Mastriano. So this is an important general election campaign for Democrats in Florida as they try to come back in this state, but also for Democrats nationally as they think through how to go at Governor DeSantis, should he want to have a national future, and whether they can counter what I would call Trumpism, which is DeSantis is certainly part of that school politically. How do they counter the continued presence of Trumpism on the American political scene, this anti-establishment rhetoric, hostility towards the press, an embrace of issues like nationalism on trade and immigration, and when it comes to issues like curriculum in schools, being very critical of some of the recommendations from public sector teachers unions and school administrators.
So kind of a test run for a presidential race, especially since DeSantis has been at the forefront of all those issues, as you say. I want to ask a little bit about the Senate race in Florida, because you have now Democrat Val Demings. She's set to face off against Marco Rubio in that race. What are her chances there among people that you talk to? Do they see this as a toss-up race, as a competitive race?
Caitlin, we're paying close attention to the Senate race in Florida as well, because Governor DeSantis is not the only Florida politician who's been able to raise a boatload of cash for this general election campaign. So has Congresswoman Demings. And she is someone like Congressman Crist, who's making a case now to Florida voters in the general election that she has not just ties to the progressive wing of her party, but to the Biden wing of her party, that more moderate wing that comes out of how he ran his 2020 campaign. You think about Congresswoman Demings' profile, a former police chief. She's making an argument in a time where crime is on the minds of many voters, in addition to the economy, that she has a law and order background. She's bringing that into the general election campaign. And she also has a friendly relationship with the Biden administration. Remember, she was part of the VP shortlist in 2020, someone then candidate Biden considered quite seriously to be as his running mate.
All right, all eyes on Florida, as always. The tireless Robert Costa, thank you so much for your reporting and for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.